Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to review part 2 in our Hatchet series, and that would be Hatchet 2. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos daily. So, I'm doing a series on the Hatchet films. I've never seen any of them, but some good friends have recommended that I check them out. And since I'm a big horror fan and I love, Kane Hodder, he was like my favorite Jason. And just, it was, sold to me as like a fun, like call throwback to horror. And when I saw the first movie, I'll put the link in the description. I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a nice love letter to 80s, 70s horror. It brought back a good, over-the-top, decent slasher flick with the touch of satire. So how does Hatchet 2 stand out? I feel it is not as good as the first. I think there was something missing from this one. I felt the pacing was a bit off, and the first, I would say, half an hour is a little too bogged down. I know you've got to set up your movie, and I know you've got to set up your characters, but for some reason, it just seems like you knew the characters in the first movie. Yeah, you didn't know them intimately, but you knew this person is who, this person is that. This one is like they spent a lot of time in the setup, but you didn't really get to know anybody. There's of course your final girl, played this time by Danielle Harris, and you have Tony Todd as Zombie, and outside, and of course you have Sean's brother from the first one, in this one, I think Justin, and it's just like you spend a lot of time with setup, but you still don't get to know these people. And I felt that it had a weird dynamic to it. And it seemed like they were, and I understand, like, part of that setup was they were trying to really kind of dive into the backstory of Crawley. And I thought that was great. I thought that the flashback, the story being told about how Victor Crawley came to be was kind of neat. It was really, like, good. But there was just, it felt like there was just too much of the other stuff and not a lot of real information. I mean, you had Danielle Harris, who's playing Mary Beth in this movie, as opposed to a different Mary Beth in the first movie, and she spent a lot of the time just like the screech crying and like trying to get back. Why, I don't know at this point, but trying to go back to the swamp to get her father and brother's remains. And, at a certain point, you kind of just have to chalk it up to, like, no, just don't. And then Voodoo, who I love Tony Todd. I absolutely love the guy. I thought even though he was more or less a cameo in the first movie, this one he's a full-time, role in this. And I felt his zombie character, from what little we saw in the first movie, was cool. Like, it was funny. It was really, really, like, you didn't know where he was going to go with it. This one, it's like, that got there's none of that here. It's like, he owns the shop, but he's just like a guy you might as well just go to a local convenience store, and that's the same guy. He didn't play Zombie from the first movie. It was odd. It was, I don't know why they went that direction, honestly. And I have to admit, I'll geek out a little bit seeing Hodder and Todd lock horns in this one. That was probably my favorite moment of the whole movie, to be honest. Aside from his character, I mean, I understand, like, okay, this is how we kill Crawley, and I don't know where he pulled that info from, but that whole thing was part of the problem in the first half. It's like you didn't really get a reason behind the plan. Yeah, they explained something, but why that? Like, that just seemed off to me. So story-wise, I wasn't a big fan of this one. I felt it was taking itself a little too seriously. Now, when we finally get to Crawley, like, laying waste to our cannon fodder, that stuff's great. It is so good. It's really just like almost like a quick buzz reel of those kills, and very creative, and there's some cool stuff, and the blood is awesome. And honestly, like, the second half of the movie served a lot better than the first half. The first half moved way too slow, took too long getting there. This one, the second half was great. All the kills, you know, and also Crawley himself was definitely just looked different. They kind of explained that a little bit, how like he's reborn all the time, and sure, I could buy that, but I felt in the first movie he was like, he was more of a, oh, you know, all of a sudden he just appears and he rushes at you and he's just gonna just kill you, you know, creatively. And this one, it's just more of the creative. It's like he was more Jason in this one. It felt, and even Jason gets name dropped in the beginning of the movie. It just felt like he was more that than, you know, the rushing at you trying to kill you from the first movie. Like, I loved that about the first movie. It was like, you know, it's no subtle, you know, thing. It's just like he's just rushing at you. And this one, he's literally walking to you in most of the kills. And I felt that a little disappointing. Honestly, the highlight of the film were the kills. And once you get there, they're great. And like everything else, it seems like it's over too fast. But yeah, so bottom line is, I don't think this was a great sequel. I thought it was fine. The first movie was infinitely better. It had a message, but I feel like maybe it was getting a little too serious in this one, and kind of took a little bit of the fun out, especially that first half. You know, I can spot a good satire, and I don't. While there was bits and pieces of it in this one, it wasn't full on display like in the first one. So overall, Hatchet 2, mildly disappointing. Still fun though. It has its moments. The moment between Hodder and Tony Todd, that's probably my favorite scene in both films so far. So next we're going to be heading over to Hatchet 3. We're going to give that one a shot. So look for that video soon. So yeah, leave your comments below. Did you like Hatchet 2? Which of the Hatchet movies is your favorite? So leave your comment below. And as always, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.